Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to isubk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're...
All right. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. All right. This is the One West News Desk. Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. Again, this is the One West News Desk. Under Captain Sapari, I'm holding it down for Captain Sapari. I am Officer Matham. And today we're going to talk about a little local news, a little national news, a little international news. Like we say every week, we want to keep our people abreast of what's going on throughout their, city, nation, and internationally. We get into a little bit of things just to keep people up to what's going on. We know we party a lot and everything, and a lot of times we don't get to listen to the news or hear some news and really know what's going on with around us. All right, let's jump into an article right here. Let's jump into this article right here. And this is an international. I'm gonna start off with a little international news, right? Israel deports Greta Thunberg and other Gaza flotilla activists. You understand? These are people who are against the war in Gaza, who's going against Israel. You understand? And when Israel hears these kind of things, Israel likes to deport and get all of this stuff out of the way so that nobody can hear what's really going on in Gaza. What's really going on in Gaza is that there is what do they call it? They unaliving everybody in Gaza. Let's put it like that. Hold on for a second. Give me a second. Give me a little air in here. It's a little hot in here. All right. Anyway, we know what's going on in Gaza. We know how Israel is treating those people in Gaza. And listen, even when I was young, we used to hear about and see just little smidgets on the news about what was going on in Gaza. We used to always think that people in Gaza, the Palestinians, used to always think that they were terrorists. Now, we're not on the side of the Palestinians. We ain't taking no side. We don't even have a dog in the fight. You understand? None of them fight for us. But we're going to give you I just want to give you a little backdrop. When I was young, we used to always believe that these people were terrorists. You understand what I'm saying? Because what was going on is they were showing us one side of a big picture. You understand? And really, not even one side. They were showing us they were showing us a quarter of a picture and wasn't really showing us what was really going on. And you understand, they were actually unaliving the people in Gaza at will. They call it a mowing the lawn. You understand? And mowing the lawn to the Israelis was a term to say that they're keeping the people in check and they're keeping their numbers down. It's called population control. And this is something that Israel has been using since they got established in 1948. This is not a new thing. It's a new thing that we're actually seeing what's going on in Israel. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives, we don't have a dog in the fight. But it's always good to know what's going on. This thing that's going on in Israel is not the first time that something like this has happened. And us as so-called Blacks and Hispanics, we like to forget that these things were happening to us first. Our oppressor was mowing the lawn right here in America, in the Caribbean islands, in Central and South America, way before this was happening in Gaza. You understand what I'm saying? This is not anything new. What's going on in Gaza is a microcosm of what has happened and what is still happening to Blacks and Hispanics right here in America, Central and South America, and all across those Caribbean islands. You understand what I'm saying? What we're seeing is a mirror of what we've already been through. Now, these people from Gaza have people all over the world in the United Nations saying that the Palestinians should be a separate state. It should be a two-state solution. Since 1948, what is that? 1948, 25, 75, 77 years. I want to say 77 years. I hope I'm right with the number. I could be wrong, but I want to say 77 years. After 77 years, and they've been saying it before that these people should have their own state. When we see stuff like this, we should think to ourselves, right? We should think to ourselves, where are the 163 nations in the United Nations standing up saying that we should have our own state? We should be our own country. You understand what I'm saying? These things were already happening to us. We have cities and towns in America that looks just like Gaza looks right now, with people living in it. I bring up this article right here because being in America, we fall into the customs and cultures of America. We fall into the propaganda and the pixie dust of America, and we believe that we are part of America, and we like to forget the things that have already happened to us. This thing that's happening in Gaza has already happened and has been happening to us since we hit the shores of America. This is nothing new that's happening in Gaza. The difference is the Palestinians have nations standing up for them. Where are the nations stand up for the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and natives? Think about it, right? Think about it, right? They talk about how what the Pilgrims did to the Indians or the so-called natives when they first came over here. We talk about all the horrific things that they've done to them. We talk about how they took the land from the Hispanics, Texas, Arizona, all that up and down that West Coast. We talk about that all the time. We talk about the 77 million Hispanics that were unalive in the taking of their land. We talk about the close to 100 or over 100 million of us in the transatlantic slave trade. And the thing about it is 100 million and counting. Same thing with the Hispanics, same thing with the natives. Listen, they still are unalive and natives on reservations. Reservations are just like a Gaza. They have no power, just like the Hispanics have no power in Central and South America. America controls that. We have no power right here. Again, we have no dog in the fight. But this article I bring up this article to get us to remember that these things have already and are still happening to us today. Think about it, right? Trump is trying to send National Guard to different cities all around America. He's not sending them to Utah. You understand? He's not sending them to rural towns in Colorado. He's not sending them to rural towns in Idaho. He's sending them to urban neighborhoods. Just what they're doing in Gaza, they can run that same thing here. we have to be mindful. All right, we had a little technical difficulty. And like I was saying, we have to be mindful. We have to think about the images and the visuals that America gives us on their airwaves. You understand? Because America controls the airwaves. They control what we see, how we see, and basically what we think. We think this thing in Gaza is a huge thing when it's not. What's happening to us in America, what's happening to us in Central and South America, what's happening to us across these islands where we know our people are, that's the huge thing right there. You understand? And then they want us to sympathize with them about what they're doing to those people. We don't have a dog in the fight. What we need to do is worry about our people. Now, I want to get into this article again, right? It says among 161 arriving in Athens, Miparima Hassan reports that she was beaten by Israeli police officers. Wow. How many times have that happened to us? You understand? That's nothing. That's nothing. Imagine going through it for 300 or 400 years. Imagine going through it day after day. See, these people have no idea. Yeah, it looks sad. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, the things that's happening over in Gaza. But we got to start asking ourselves, what about us? And if they can't have any answers, we need to look out for us. We got to stop worrying about what's happening in Gaza. You understand? Now, I brought up this article again to make the comparison. We sympathize with the people that's halfway around the world, but we don't sympathize with our own people. The same things that are happening to us right here. So much so that we're at war with our own people because the oppression is so bad. We're at war with our own people. Imagine that. Listen, we don't see Palestinians going at Palestinians. You don't see that. You don't see the different Arab nations going at their people. This is how we have to be. You understand? It says Israeli Foreign Ministry announced on X on Monday that it had expelled a total of 171 activists from the flotilla ships, which were intercepted last week while trying to bring aid to blockaded Gaza. This brings the total deported so far up to 341. Listen, think about this, right? They turned those ships around and deported those people back, but they bombed those Hispanics in that international water, saying that they were transporting drugs, the Venezuelans. See how they treat their people? See how they treat our people? See how they treat the people from other nations, and look how they treat our people. America is a petri dish to the practices that America carries out in other nations. Hear that again. America is a petri dish, meaning America tests out all of their evil right here on us and then carries it out into the other nations. Everything that they do, they test on us. They test on the so-called blacks and Hispanics. Listen, you don't see them testing that in rural neighborhoods. You don't see them testing that in their own neighborhoods. They come to the urban neighborhoods to do that. Listen, we talked about an article that they did in. We talked about an article that they did in St. Louis. A test that they did in St. Louis, dropping chemicals on the people in St. Louis. And they said they did the testing because a lot of the testing grounds where they did it at in St. Louis matched some of the grounds and things that were in Russia. The way the people were together in Russia, the way the people lived close together in Russia. They tested chemicals. Not only that, they gave our children laced oatmeal, chemically induced oatmeal to our children. This thing that's happening in Gaza has already happened to us, and it's still happening to us. This is nothing new. It looks new to us because now it's not happening. Well, it's still happening to us, but now it's happening to somebody else. It's been happening to us so long that we don't recognize that this is the same thing that has already been happening to us. It's the reason why we have to come together. We come together to war with each other, but we don't come together to be a family and survive. We don't. We don't do it. We don't do any of that. All of the other nations, listen, as much as America hates China, look at what the Chinese own all around America. Look at what the Asians own all around America, whether it be Vietnamese, whether it be Chinese, Japanese, or any of them. Look at everything that they own. So it's so bad that they have a Chinatown. They have a Korean town. Listen, in Duluth, Georgia, there's a Korean town. There's a town where the Koreans own a whole section of town. But these are the people they're at war with. Think about that. Think about it. How much of a war can they be in with the Asians when they let the Asians own so much of the stuff in America? Again, think about the Arabs. They're at war with the Arabs. Look at everything that the Arabs own in America. Look at it. They bombed Iraq, Afghanistan. Listen. They did all of that. And look at everything that they let them own in America. And this is the thing, right? They let them own everything in our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods. What's going on, Sister Rawad? All right. Think about it, right? We got to come together. We got to start really being a family. You understand? Look, it says, let me be very clear. There's a genocide going on. Yes, there's a genocide going on, but that genocide is already happening in America. The genocide is already happening with us. The genocide has been happening to us since we hit the shores of America. Since this oppressor has left his cold, dark mountainous cave. This is the things that happen when you help a beast. This is why we shouldn't be in their Congress. We shouldn't be on their Senate. We shouldn't be sitting in any judges' seats for them. We shouldn't be doing any of that, because the only thing they allow us to do is follow their rules, their guidelines, and their role, or the things that they want to carry out on us. Make us sell out our own people. It says, let me be very clear, there's a genocide going on, Thunderbird told the crowd at the Athens airport, referring to the Israeli military action in Gaza. And they allow them to leave. Listen, think about this, right? Usually the Israelis bomb and unalive everybody that's talking against them. Yeah, they unalive everybody that's talking against them. Anybody that's trying to deliver aid to the Palestinians, they unalive them. Ain't nothing else, not lock them up, you understand, not detain them, but they unalive them. So with these people, he send them back to their nation. It says, in our international systems are betraying Palestinians. They are not even able to prevent the worst war crimes from happening, she said in a comment carried out by AFP. Listen, the worst war crimes carried out was what they did and what they are doing to the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives. Those war crimes are continual. There are no war crimes greater than what America and her allies are doing to the children of God. You understand? There's no greater war crime than that. What we aim to do with the global Samud flotilla was to step up when our government failed to do their legal obligations, she added. The 22-year-old was allegedly abused by Israeli forces while in detention. Turkish journalist and Samud flotilla participant Erickson Selleck earlier told local media how Thunderbird was dragged on the ground and forced to kiss the Israeli flag. Man, that ain't nothing, man. Come on now. Drag you on the ground and make you kiss a flag. That's abuse. Hey, that's a humiliation. That's not abuse. You understand? So she's gonna say chop the finger off or something like that. You understand? Waterboarded you or something like that. You know, they dragged you on the ground and made you kiss the flag. Come on, stop playing. That was a game. Slovakia Foreign Ministry, meanwhile, confirmed that 10 of the deportees had arrived there, including one of its nationals and 9 other people from the Netherlands, Canada, and the United States. All Europeans. Crowds of demonstrators welcomed the activists, unfurling a huge Palestinian flag in the arrivals hall and chanting "Freedom for Palestine" and "Long live the flotilla." Come on, stop playing. That's a joke. Hey, listen, we got to stick together. We got to be a family. We got to take care of our own. Because as you see, none of those countries in the United Nations recognize the genocide that's going on with the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives today. We are all we got. We got to take care of our own people. You understand? I'm going to drop that article. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. I want to check this one out. Look at this. Listen. This is the reason why we should never follow the oppressor. The oppressor has a lust for death. If left to his own vices, and if left with their own, they'll unalive themselves. Check this article out right here. This one said, I was lucky to get out. Everest hiker battled hypothermia as blizzard rescue continues. Listen, 500 fools. Let me see. Hold on. Let me count. Let me see. Let me count. I got to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No Negroes. See, this is the reason why we should not follow them and not do what they do, not take on their customs. This is a custom of the oppressor to climb the highest mountain in the world and unalive himself. Left to their own devices, this is what they do to themselves. If they can't unalive somebody, they'll turn around and unalive themselves to get the satisfaction. The satisfaction. They'll unalive themselves. I saw a video one day. It was a video of a dude, and he had a shotgun rigged to his arm, and he was on a video, and the police were on the other side of the door. He told them if they come in, he gonna unalive himself. And they started to crack the door, and he said, "Oh, you think I'm just..." Took the whole side of his head off. If they can't unalive us, they'll unalive themselves. This is just what they do. It's in their nature to do this. This is why they swim with sharks. This is why they climb mountains. This is why they go hunting for tigers and bears and stuff like that. It's the adrenaline rush of coming close to death. This is what they do. It's an adrenaline for them. Listen to this, right? It says, I was lucky to get out. Everest hiker battles hypothermia as blizzard rescue continues. Hikers caught in a shock blizzard near Mount Everest has spoken of experiencing hypothermia as they battle relentless snowfall while rescuers continue to evacuate scores of people. At least one hiker has died and more than 200 are still stranded on Mount Everest's eastern slope in Tibet. They go anywhere to unalive themselves. I wonder, do they think they're going to see something on the other side? Because they do this every year. Every year, you sure to get somebody to be unalive on Mount Everest, all the way in Tibet. Even the Tibetans don't even climb that mountain. Tibetans don't even climb that mountain. Listen, these people have a date with death. We need to usher them along. We need to usher them along. We need to point the way, not go, but we should just point the way. Give them a bag lunch and let them go. You understand? They got a date with death. This is what they do. Whether it be out in space, down in the bottom, the deepest part. Listen, think about that little sub that man made that they got swallowed up in. 7 to 8 people got swallowed up in. Thin piece of what's the name? As soon as it got to a distance, that just closed up on. They got a date. Listen, they got a date with death. Had your bag lunch and that nigga a peanut butter and celery sandwich and let them go on about their business. You understand? That's what we need to do. You understand? Give them some potato salad with raisins in it and send them on their way. You understand? If you got a date with death, listen, hikers caught in the shock blizzard near Mount Everest have spoken of experience of hypothermia as they battle relentless snowfall while rescuers continue to evacuate scores of people. At least one hiker has died and more than 200 are still stranded on Mount Everest, eastern slope in Tibet, an area popular with climbers and hikers. Chinese state media reported. They, not Chinese people, not Tibetans. You understand? Not the Mongolians, not none of them. It's the oppressor. It's the Europeans. They have a fascination with death, coming close to death, even stepping over the line into death. They got a fascination with it. And this is what they do to themselves. Hey, listen, I don't have anything against them unaliving themselves. Hey, I'm gonna step back and let you do you. You understand? At least they not unaliving us doing it. You understand? Snowfall began on Friday evening and intensified over the weekend. Hundreds of local villages and rescue workers. Look at the villages don't even go up there. The villages like, listen, you know where you going? Yeah, okay, and let them go. Local villages and rescue workers have been deployed to clear out snow blocking access to the area, which sits at an altitude of more than 4,900 meters, which is 16,000 feet. Hey, listen, that means the air is thin up there. So hypothermia is easy, especially if you're not dressed well. It's easy for hypothermia to set in. It's hard to breathe. You understand? I mean, and listen, these people do this every year. Year after year after year, year after year after year, we got to hear articles like this. Rescuers have guided 350 people to safety in the small township of Quandang or Kudang, or say QU. How do you do the QU? Qdang? I'm going to say Qdang. Authorities are in contact with all the hikers who are still trapped. Nature photographer Doug Shushang was among hundreds of tourists who flocked to the area during China's Golden Week holiday. He was looking forward to capturing the Himalayan marvel from the Tibetan slopes when the snowstorm hit just hours after his trek started on Saturday. The lightning and the thunderstorm would not stop. The snowfall was so heavy I could hardly sleep. Listen, he was asleep. Hey, Mr. Dong explained. Mr. Dong, ding dong. His group had reached an altitude of 4,600 meters before they decided to turn back. He gets 16. Listen, it's already snowing like crap. And you get 16,000 feet up and decide, like, damn, maybe we should go back. Too late, butt wife. Too late. Says our windbreakers and these niggas had windbreakers on. Windbreakers and raincoats were no match for the snow. What's not? Windbreakers and raincoats were no match for the snow. We were all drenched, he said, adding that several people in his group of 20 showed signs of hypothermia. Wouldn't you think? The 27-year-old had been to the Himalayas more than a dozen times, but said he has never experienced weather like this. Listen, every time we hear about this, this is what we hear about. So at 16,000 feet, they decided to turn back. So I wonder how high they was going. I wonder was they going to the 3,200 or 32,000 feet up to the tip top. To do what? To look down. And you can stand on a curb and look down. Ain't nowhere in the world. You going all the way to Tibet to climb Mount Everest to look down. Fools. Says everyone was moving slowly. The route was very slippery. I kept falling because of the ice. When you think this group spent last night in a hotel room in Kudang, we will say Qdang, where they relied on a generator for electricity. When they left the hotel this morning, the snowstorm had finally subsided. We're just so relieved to get help and support, he said. Man, these people are a bunch of fools. You got to be a fool of the earth to climb a mountain knowing that you get that kind of weather. And then not to mention the thinness from the altitude, the higher you climb. you get lightheaded, you can go to sleep quickly and never wake up. There's no way. There's no way. I know it wasn't no Negroes, no Hispanics on that one. I know that. But we're gonna leave that to them. You know, this year's snow was exceptional, the 29-year-old outdoor enthusiast said. Another woman told the BBC that her husband, who had been stuck in the snowstorm, was slowly descending from the mountain, but thick snow cover has made his retreat extremely difficult. Even for rescuers, it's not easy. They need to clear snow to make a path, said the woman, who declined to be named. Yeah, you don't want to be called a fool. She said she don't want to be named in that, you know what I mean? Because they feel like buttholes. They feel like buttholes. You don't want to give nobody your name after you done got caught on a mountain, knowing that every time somebody go up there, somebody always unalive. Somebody always loses their life. Our oppressor love climbing mountains, love climbing high mountains, but leave it to them. Let them unalive themselves. You understand? She didn't want to give her name. Everybody know who you are. I'm telling you that. We know who you are. You fool. Hey, listen, say, I hope my husband's team reached the rescue team safely. Yeah, I bet you do. You probably got nice little life insurance out on him. I hope. Yeah, she probably do. They got life insurance. That's why they do that. They go up there as couples and come down as singles. They go up couples and come down singles. That's like white people going to Aruba. Every time they go to Aruba, 2 people go, but 1 person come back. You know what I mean? It's crazy. They got those special places that they take their wives and their husbands and stuff like that, just to see who come back. You know, who win the prize of the life insurance policy. They go, Aruba is one and Mount Everest is another one. How do you go as a couple to places like that? Now, everybody know Aruba has just become that. Every time somebody talk about they going to Aruba, somebody always don't come back. Anybody invite you to Aruba, you better think. You know, don't go to Aruba. At least don't go as a couple. I'm sorry, I mean that, but if you have a significant other and you know you get a little bit weary, you go to Aruba. Another hiker, Eric Ween, he told his name, told Reuters that 3 people in his group suffered from hypothermia, even though they were adequately dressed. They hardly slept because it was snowing too hard, and his group had to clear snow every 10 minutes. Otherwise, our tents would have collapsed. Ain't no way. It's no way in the world. Negroes don't do that. Black people, we don't do nothing like that. You out there in a tent, and it's snowing so hard, you got to keep shoveling snow. Understand? Oh no, there's no way. We know not to go there. We know definitely we ain't going there. Nobody better not bring that up. You understand? Let's say October. Listen, it says China is in the middle of its week-long national day holiday known as Golden Week, a peak season for local tourism. October usually provides clear skies and friendly temperatures, making it one of the favorite months to hike in the Mount Everest area. Listen, the Most High got something different for y'all. He got something planned for y'all. He faked y'all out. He gave y'all the gotcha. You know, many hikers have made their way to the Karma Valley hiking trail, a lesser known but scenic route to the base of Everest, which also offers a view of the world's highest peak. Although many of them attempt to climb the summit every year, it is considered an incredibly dangerous hike. And listen, I knew this crap since I was a kid. This is a dangerous hike, but it's something about death. that the oppressor just loves. You understand? Something about death that the oppressor loves. You know what I mean? Well, we gonna let them have that. And I'm gonna drop that. You know what I mean? I just wanted to show y'all the fools of the day. That's the fools of the day is anybody that was in that 500 people crowd climbing Mount Everest. Fool of the day. Let's go. Here we go. Where is that? Where's the article? Oh yeah. Hey, it says the U.S. court. This is the new article. U.S. court rejects. What's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell, the chick that was with what's his name? Epstein. You understand? Epstein right-hand chick. You understand? Rejected her appeal in the Epstein case. Hey, listen, they sent her to a minimum security prison just for a little bit of information. But I think they did that, right? Because she got a lot of info on a lot of people too. She know a lot of names too. You understand? And Epstein probably had to go the way he went because he knew too much. And now that Epstein file is getting hot and getting hot, you understand? She's a commodity. She's a commodity. And to keep some things under wrap, you make provisions for people. And they put her in a minimum security prison. You understand? And people are complaining about that. You understand? And they want those Epstein files open. You understand? But think about this, right? Our oppressor has always been a deviant. So to open an Epstein file and to find out what really happened is really nothing new to us anyway. We always knew he was a horrible deviant. You understand? And some of us may be surprised, but a lot of us not going to be surprised, especially if you're Black and Hispanic. We're not going to be surprised about what's in that Epstein file. But to make provisions for a criminal like this, and it's an oppressor's, you understand, provisions for an oppressor. You understand? This is not something that we get. As a matter of fact, we go to prison for 40, 50 years for crimes that we did not do. Crimes that we did not do. So I want you to think about the party that she probably having in prison, period. They always tell us they go to, you understand, oh, I went to prison. Who was the dude that had the show that beat all of those people out, those millions of dollars, did all the lying and stuff, and they talk about how horrible it was in prison. So he left out of his cell and he went to go take a walk around you understand? What type of prison is that? He was in Club Med. And because he couldn't get the shrimp and the lobster that he wanted, he hated the food. And now they're back on TV again, doing the shows that they do. What's the dude? Sound like a sodomite, right? It's an oppressor. Sound like a sodomite. He got a big old family. You understand? Everybody making money every kind of way. You understand? But again, when you living in somebody else's house, you have to live by their rules. The rules that they have does not apply to them, but applies to you. You understand? Being in America, the rules of America and the laws of America were not created for our oppressor, but the laws of America were created for us. Our oppressor gets to, and we see even with this presidency, this thing that's happening now, your eyes should be wide open to what's going on and the things that are happening right now. Your eyes should be wide open. Look, I mean, think about it, right? Look at all of the stuff that's going on, things that you never thought would have happened, never thought a president would be able to do. Donald Trump is doing it right now. 34, 37 felonies, and he became president. Listen, you get a misdemeanor and you lose your job and you can't ever come back. 34 felonies and he's the president. This is the reason why we have to control our own destiny. We have to come together as a people. We have to start building our nation from this inside out. We have to come together. We have to open our eyes and realize that we are a family. We have to stand and stick together, just like the oppressor does with all of these other nations. As horrible as the oppressor is, those other nations still stand with him. As horrible as President Trump is, all of these nations still stand with him. Hey, listen. We are all we got. Listen, man, it's a saying. It's something that we hear a million times, but it rings true when it comes to us. There's no other nation that's going to stand with us. Think about it, right? After hundreds of years, nobody has stood with us. Nobody even speaks about our plight. Nobody even speaks about what has already happened to us. They talk about what has happened to the so-called Jewish man, so-called Palestinian. They talk about what has happened to the Africans over in the Congo. They talk about what has happened to other nations of people. But we have been totally forgotten because there is no love for us. This is the reason why we have to stick together. Check this out with that. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street under commanding General Yohanan. This is the 1 West News Desk under Captain Saparia. I'm Officer Matham. And with that, Shalom, Israel.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to isubk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're